Oh, would you look at that? Looks like Noctilus got himself a mount this time as Contrarian Codex faces off against Scarbrand and XMT Civil War. Let's take a look at what he's got. Of course, he has taken Noctilus on one of the worst single entities in the game, in my opinion. That is the Necrofex Colossus. Just bad all the way around. Bad in melee. It has a ranged attack, which isn't really going to do all that much, even if it uses all its ammunition. Be lucky to pay for itself. But we've also got the crabs, at least. Trusty gun crabs, 3 of them, including Lamprey's Revenge. A couple of Morn Ghouls with the ROR Night Terrors as well. Pirate gun mobs up front with pistols. And a couple dual hand weapon mobs. Khorne coming in hot with a single entity foot squad. We've got Scar, the Blood Reaper, and Arbol the Undefeated all on foot. Brutes the Hound as well. A couple of Chosen of Khorne. And some Marauders with dual hand weapons. Looks like some horsemen out on the flanks. Relatively elite build from a single entity standpoint. A lot of value in these foot single entities here. You can see Scar taking some pistol shots as he approaches. Gonna move on in and begin the slaughter. Start taking some heads from these zombies. Brutes the Hound following up as well. And then here comes Arbol with his giant axe out. He doesn't need no shield. Running in like a Chad. Now we see the Lamprey's Revenge respond to try and stem the tide. Pun intended. But alas, will it be enough? You see the Furies moving down in the back line, trying to go after... did they try and rush those Morn Ghouls? Very interesting choice. Morn Ghouls are anti-infantry and heal. I believe, do they also have magic damage? Yeah, they have frostbite, not magic damage, so they will be more than a match for the Furies. I guess Furies don't really have many good targets to go after, but you could maybe just use them to drop on this front line to try and interrupt, you know, more units. We do have some roadblock Marauders out on the flanks. Well, that flank in particular, not going to be going very well, but yeah, look at the damage burst from these characters. And everything else. In particular, though, the characters, all 3 single entities just beating on the Lamprey's Revenge means this unit of gun crabs is already crumbling, which is not a great sign for the Vampire Coast. Those gun crabs, as we know from the recent videos, are one of the most important key units for them to succeed here. Marauder Horsemen even getting close to throw some axes. Lamprey's Revenge might be able to stabilize through their innate healing, but we shall have to wait and see. Meanwhile, the Khorne Chosen and Marauders, Berserkers pushing through. We've got the Summon Spawn from Arbol as well, giving a nice little power spike in the center. Yeah, lowly zombies going to be no match for the elite Chosen infantry of Khorne. A little crab rear charge will help put them in their place. Nice invocation of Nehek as well. Hits all the important targets here from Count Noctilus, but he himself is facing a nightmare scenario. Necrofex Colossus, even when they were at their peak in Warhammer 2, were always somewhat weak to like foot characters, just because they have a hard time hitting them with their animations. And especially when it's 3 very strong melee foot characters that are not only strong but fast. We've got, you know, high speed on the Blood Reaper and Scar, and even Arbol himself is respectable. But the 3 of them, and in particular the 2 heroes, can pursue Noctilus relentlessly and just continuously pressure him to move. That being said, lots of zombies still on the field, and the support units for Khorne have not really been able to get through the girth of the army here for the Vampire Coast, so it is definitely going to have to come down to these single entities. Big sort of Khorne lands here, though. Wrecks lots of pirates. Lots of zombies just explode into red mist, and that will certainly help thin the horde a bit. And as long as Scar and Arbol and the Blood Reaper have infantry to fight on top of, they should be mostly protected from the missiles of these pistols here. Missile pistols here. Anyway, yeah, the Chosen for now, their armor definitely helps them against that pistol fire as well, so should be able to continue helping. The one thing is the remaining Prometheans, this unit getting absolutely savaged right now as they get caught in the teeth of this engagement, but they still have a lot of ammunition on their shotguns, so in theory, As long as they still have stuff to grind through, they could try and hang back with shotguns and get hits, although it is going to be difficult to get consistent hits on these small single entities. Chosen. Going to try and maybe get these pistols. Nope, they're going to maybe stick with the heroes. Hard to say. Scar and the Blood Reaper out in open space once again, chasing down Noctilus. He forced screen with the crabs, try and block these infantry characters in with that high mass. They both get knocked over momentarily. Another nice invocation of the heck, although he did take some miscast damage there. The Chosen moving through as well. Yeah, Brutes of the Hound kind of over-pursued due to their rampage, but they also have gotten a massive amount of kills and value, so hard to really fault them too much. They 100% accomplished what they needed to. Chosen here as well, moving through. The Mourngulls could cause them some problems, and they're also just pretty well surrounded. Yeah, we've got this healthy Mourngul moving in from behind. This Chosen could have some problems with that situation. Meanwhile, the other Chosen continuing to support these foot characters here. But they're not able to finish any of these Prometheans. Like, the Prometheans will move in, take some damage, but other than the Lamprey's Revenge, they haven't actually been able to finish either of these other units off, which is definitely tough. Right now, single entities for Khorne splitting up a little bit here. Bloody Shackle being used on the Blood Reaper to give him a little bit of healing. Pretty efficient. I think maybe just a tiny bit of overhealing there, but really almost spot on in terms of the percentage that it healed. Yeah, these Chosen, again, out in no man's land, getting shot by pistols from multiple directions, getting hit by multiple units of Mourngulls. There's only so much the elite of Khorne can handle on their own. And this unit definitely getting punished very heavily, likely to get terrified. Yep, there they go. And meanwhile, pursuit of Noctilus continues. The crabs still desperately trying whatever they can to stop up these infantry characters, but as they pursue, they're also getting chopped by the other infantry characters, so we'll fast forward a little bit, cue the Benny Hill music as the pursuit really gets underway. You can see that eventually Scarbrand's just going to move in, start to combat whatever targets he can get his paws on. The pistols and the cannon from Noctilus's Necrofex not going to be doing a whole lot. I guess the Blood Reaper is the best target for the pistols since he has the least amount of armor, but Arball being so low right now means he probably should be the priority target for whatever remains. Chosen also remain temporarily, mostly just to get charged down by crabs once again. They do a little bit of damage in response, but meanwhile the pursuit continues. And with no screening or supporting elements, the single entities are just going to have to rely on each other to stay safe here, so let's see what they can do. Arball, Blood Reaper, Scar, just cutting through hundreds of zombies at this point. Scar eventually does take enough damage that he routs, most unfortunate. Rotting Prometheans will try and chase him off. Pistols doing some good damage to the Blood Reaper, trying to at least. Continue fast forwarding there. And eventually the Blood Reaper realizes, ooh, he's taking way too much damage from those pistols, needs to just go over and stomp them out. Him and Arball are going to attempt to do it, which we'll see if they have enough time. But the crabs and the Mourngulls in particular still having the mass to kind of throw these infantry characters around and distract many of their attacks. It's going to be pretty tough. Noctilus tries a charge, which is not a good idea, but he really should just stand there looking ugly. But yeah, they do eventually finish off this halberd. Once again, moving towards the pistols. Ooh, they get just enough damage in to maybe force the Blood Reaper into disintegration. Demonic instability. Yep, we see the confetti start to take hold. And the Blood Reaper won't be long for this world. And it's going to be just Arball himself, so far undefeated. Will he be able to live up to his namesake? Let's fast forward a little bit more. Blood Reaper falls. Arball continues to fight on valiantly. Balance power, still thinking that he has a very good chance of winning here. Does chop through a few more Mourngulls. Ooh, will he be able to just finish the unit off? Looks like he basically did. Arball doesn't have flaming attacks, unfortunately, unlike most Khorne lords. So he does not lessen the healing of the hunger that they are receiving. But otherwise, just the high enough damage to hopefully get through the rest of the unit. Get some good damage on the pistols in the meantime. Ooh, he gets catapulted across the field there, and we see both the gun crabs. Again, this is a situation where actually the shotguns can get some hits, because there's nothing else left on the field blocking their shots. And see, as Arball moves in, gets some attacks on Noctilus, he is going to get pinged by those shotguns. And one of the crabs also moving into screen once more. If he was able to finish off Noctilus there, I'd have been able to just force a leadership win. As it is, Arball himself, looking like he's potentially in trouble here. He does move through and just eliminates the pistols. Definitely the right call. But then struggling to actually get through the melee defense. That 50 melee defense of the Rotting Prometheans is quite high. Very good for Monstrous Infantry, and it's not quite enough. Arball just gets ground down by their melee defense and the shotguns in melee. And there it is. Another victory for the Gun Crabs. Codex almost lost that one. Very, very close once again, but was able to pull out a win there despite Noctilus's mount. I mean, I would say in spite of his mount, for sure. I mean, he technically did get some value, but I can't help but think this would have been better spent not taking that thing. Although from a Lord choice perspective, like taking a Lord who's not going to get sniped here is actually pretty difficult. Like, Luther's so expensive up in the air, and he's not a caster that I doubt he's really worth even trying. The Khorne can also threaten the air, so, you know, not necessarily exactly 100% safe up there. But then, yeah, any ground-based character I think is just going to get mauled by this Death Squad. Credit to Scarbrand, you know, very well-constructed build for the most part. Arball, 3,000 damage value, 2,000 on the Blood Reaper, and Scar with another 1,450. Very good stuff overall. The Chosen, yeah, get some respectable value, but the Brutes of the Hound, man, 250 kills, 1,500 value, almost 25,000 damage dealt. Absolutely spectacular. Yeah, I mean, the Furies didn't really have a lot of good targets to go after, but I can't help but think, maybe they were just mainly being used as a blocking detachment there early on, but who knows? Maybe if you actually let the Mournguls collapse in and then rear charge them with the Furies once they're already kind of fighting the Chosen or something, I don't know. Easy for me to backseat general that, but maybe could have used the Furies a little bit more wisely, and certainly in a close game like this, those little things can make a big difference, definitely. So hopefully you enjoyed. It's certainly a fun battle. I know I sure did. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.